What's going on, beautiful people of YouTube? It's Renebean, and welcome to another episode of Life of a Game Hunter / Collector. I'm going to be working on some NES consoles today. I got one that was sent in that a refurb was attempted, but it just didn't go through right. And then I got another one from a recent pickup that we're going to refurbish and get that thing working like it should. I know a bunch of people have been asking for them, so today we're going to pump some out. And also a package came in through a trade with a buddy of mine, so we'll check that out at the end of the episode. So without further ado, let's go out in the shop. Let's make some money. Alright guys, we're out here in the shop. I got two NES consoles here. I believe this one's been worked on before. I believe the lockout chip's been disabled. I don't believe I've done this one. I would have sold it had I got it going. I cleaned a couple games and it's not working, so we're going to take this one. And this is another one that came in completely untouched at all, so we're going to refurbish completely. We're going to open this up and see what the issue is with this, if it is repairable, if it was just a botch job or something like that. But the game's 100% clean. No matter how good of a refurb job you do, if your game's not clean, it's not going to work. So let's open the. We'll start off with this one right here before we do the actual refurb, and see if there is an issue. Maybe the pins need to be redone. We'll see. Let's check it out. All right, so we got this thing opened up. Let's go ahead and get our screws put off to the side here. Take this game out. Right away, I don't see anything too detrimental or anything. All the screws are there. Usually, you know, botch jobs, they'll miss half the screws. They'll just leave them out. I don't know, maybe like sheer laziness or something. Let's go ahead and take this thing apart a little bit more in detail here. Alright, so I got all the screws out of this thing. We can start taking it apart. That slides right out. The tray seems good. Go ahead and pull off the pin connector, see how that's looking. While the pins are tight, they don't look that clean. That's the thing. That may be the issue why this thing isn't firing. What kind of bug are you? God almighty. How many bugs attack me in this shop? Alright, so that we'll go ahead and start. We'll have to clean those pins, give them another alignment. The lockout chip, I take it, was disabled, which it was. Fourth one from the right, so that's or from the left, so that's good. Ah, here's an issue I'm seeing. That might cause a lot of problems. What's going on here? Let me take this out. I think we may have the culprit onto some issues at least. The controller port here will not work. I don't know what's going on with this. But as you can see, there's like wires that are split, not connected. There's a couple jarbled ones here. We're going to have to definitely fix that. See if we can get some tape off this here. I don't know what happened with that. Sometimes, I guess, you know, when you put these things back together, if you don't have the wires in the right spot, they'll get pinched. Maybe that was the case with this. I don't know. Luckily, it's only 2 wires, so that should be a relatively easy fix. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab some strippers here, if I can grab them. Not the fun kind, but the working kind here. There they are. Go ahead and strip these 2 wires. Now this will just cause issues with the controller port. That won't cause issues with anything else. I'm checking all the wires here to make sure there's nothing crazy going on. Alright, so let's go ahead and we'll solder that wire just to make sure it's nice and tight. Where is my iron? So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to match the colors. I mean, it's simple as that. We're just going to wind them together and drop a little bit of solder on them just to make sure they're adhered. We'll go ahead and put some heat shrink on it too. These are some small wires. They're not going to take something too crazy. I can cut that one in half, just to protect it, because those wires are very close together. Alright, we've got both of those wires twisted. Let's go ahead and add just a little bit of solder to each one of them. These wires are so small, the longer you keep your iron on there, you risk actually just melting the plastic through it. So you want to kind of do it quick if you can here. Alright, with that tubing on there, I don't see my lighter, so I'm just going to use my iron to shrink it up a little bit. Alright, so that fixes that. Any other issues I see with this board that could be a problem? Sometimes when people pull the lockout chip out, they can pull a capacitor. I don't see any issues there. Honestly, I just think that the pins weren't clean enough. We are going to clean them. I'm going to do the other NES too, so what I might as well do is set this off to the side, get this other one opened up so I can get that 72 pin out of there and do all these at one time. It makes it a lot easier on the refurb, so let's go ahead and do that. Alright, we got this thing disassembled, and I can already tell you this thing is pretty disgusting. It's got like syrup connected, or oh goodness, see, look at this. There's like some sort of gunk and goo. I don't know what they tried to put in this thing, but it's pretty nasty. You can see it all on the bottom here. I can only imagine that. God almighty. This don't normally. Oh my God, there's a popcorn kernel in here. What the hell? Man, I tell you, the things you deal with sometimes. Oh my goodness, look on the inside of that. You thought I was kidding about it? I hope that's a popcorn kernel and not some sort of weird bug. How do you get just an individual kernel in a console, man? Not even popped. That ain't what these things are made for. Oh, there it is. Thought I was kidding. Look at that. Oh, it's nasty. Oh. I think what I'll do is I got another base over here. I don't even feel like cleaning all the gunk off this thing. I think we'll just use that base for the refurb because this is pretty nasty. I just don't want to mess with all that right now. So we'll set that board off and then grab this other base. Alright, so with that board off and everything on, we're going to go ahead and sand these pins and realign them for both of them. This one definitely needs it. And I think that's what's going to fix the first one, and then the second one should work regardless. So what I need to grab here is some sandpaper. I use a very fine grit. It's, you know, somewhere between 400 and 500. And I just run it right back and forth here. Alright, I had to get my water boiling there, and yes, I do boil these pins after I'm done with them, after I realign them and sand them, just to remove any residual residue that may be there from the sandpaper or what have you. Never skip a step. If you're new to this, if you're new to this series, this is the first episode you've seen, I have a complete in-depth tutorial on how to refurbish a NES. This is just the series of Life of a Game Hunter where y'all just get to see what I do almost on a daily basis here. Alright, I'm going to use my pick tool and go ahead and realign these because all these are completely flat. I never use aftermarket replacement pins. I think they're utter garbage. If you use them, that's fine. They're a cheap alternative if you don't want to do this work, but nothing performs as well as original if done properly. That is 100% to me a fact. So I would highly recommend take the time, learn how to do this. You don't have to spend money on aftermarkets, and they don't perform as well. People always complain about how tight the pins are, and they don't have the best connectivity. Alright, they just had their bath. As you can see, they are sloppy wet. You do not want to put this in your console. If you do, you're going to have issues. Before I actually had a shop and all this, I just used a hair dryer. It didn't bother me at all, but I do got my air compressor over here with my blower, so I'm going to go ahead and get these 100% dry, and then we'll finish this up. So on the one board, we did not disable the lockout chip. I'm going to go ahead and do that for this one. I don't do it for all of them. People will argue both ways. You should, you shouldn't. I'm more for it. You know, that way you can play some other regional lock games that you couldn't before. But it also has a downside if you play like a lot of like ROM hacks, things like that. They simply can hurt your system if you don't realize it. But to disable this thing is fairly simple. I'm trying to find my right tool. My tools are kind of all scattered right now, unfortunately. I didn't clean before I came in here. I just kind of came in and got to work, which happens sometimes, but I'm going to pull this back, move these capacitors out of the way very carefully if I can. Sometimes, you know, depending on how they put the capacitors in there, they're usually in a fairly easy spot to get to. This one, not too bad. Alright, so that chip is now disabled. The final thing that you have to do, and this is required in a refurb, is you have to clean this board connector right here. If you don't do this, you're going to have issues like you've never done anything to it at all. So let's clean this up. I'm going to use Bright Boy. It works the best with these things. And they are double-sided, so make sure you get both sides whenever you clean these. Alright, now that we got that done, let's go ahead and reassemble this thing and do the other one, and then we will test these things out and make sure that they are performing like they should. Alright guys, so we just got done putting these things back together. I always say we, you guys are with me, you know, I like thinking of it like we're all in this together. But I just got done putting all these things back together, and we're going to test them out here. We got a copy. It's pretty worn, Super Mario Bros. 2, but I did clean it. Remember, no matter how good of a job you do on a refurb, unless your game is clean, it's not going to work at all. So let's go ahead and plug this up and see if it's going to cut on for us like it should. Hey, check that out, first try. That's what I like seeing. The game is clean. If your game is 100% clean and your refurb is good, should work first try no matter what. This is looking good. I'll test the control reports and all that, and this one will be available. So let's go ahead and test the other one and see if it's going to, the one that was not working originally. I'm pretty sure that one got sent in. That someone tried to do a refurb on it. But we're going to see here if it'll work. Alright, so we got the first one's good to go. Let's go ahead and check out the one that I believe was sent in. That someone tried to do a refurb. They may just not have done a thorough as a job, but let's go ahead and see. We got our copy of Super Mario Bros. 3 into the bottom console here. There we go. Hey, that's what I'm talking about. I'll have to check the control report, make sure that thing's working, because I did have to fix some wires on that. But that's a good thing. All these things are looking good. I'll post these on Macari if no one hits me up on Instagram. Usually whenever I put one of these videos out, I wait for a second before I put anything up. Because people on Instagram will typically hit me up for a private sale before I do anything. But with that said, we got 2 available NES consoles refurbished and ready to go. Let's head over into the game room and check out that package that came in. Alright guys, so hopefully you enjoyed the episode. Got the NES consoles working like they should. Let's go ahead and check out this one package that came in. Still a buddy of mine named Jeremy, and he hit me up saying that he needed some N64 games for some bundles that he was making. I think he needed to test a few consoles or something like that. Found a nice Pikachu console too, I think at like Goodwill or Savers or something like that. Got it on the cheap too. I sent him, I don't know, 3 or 4 games, I can't remember, and I told him I didn't need anything for him. Me and him go back and forth, but he sent me a couple pictures of some TurboGrafx games, some loose hue cards, and I was like, well, if you don't want those, I'll surely take them. And before you people go crazy, it's nothing crazy, but it was a decent trade. It didn't bother me just to send those to him. He's a good guy, but he offered, so I took it. So anyways, in this package, there's some other things too that he said if I wanted, I could have. Let's see. We got The Rock. What is this? A UMD PSP, or did you put the okay, I see it's just the movie of the Rock. I collect PSP UMDs, so that's I don't even think I've seen that. It's got Nicolas Cage, the face of the rage. Alright, I'll probably have to watch that. Alright, we got God of War Saga here too. He said he doesn't have a PS3 to test these things. He said if I wanted them, I can take them. I only collect exclusives with PS3, so this is awesome. Let's see here. Alright. Yeah, I was wondering about that. He put TurboGrafx 16 games inside on this one. This one is God of War Ascension. I didn't have these, so this is awesome. I'm a huge God of War fan. The first video game I played that really had some decent pixelated boobs for the PlayStation 2. Alright, yeah, here it is. It was just the one. That's King of Casino. Very awesome. I didn't have this. most things I don't like to collect unless it's got like a case or something that's like this, or a CD. But when it comes to TurboGrafx 16, I'll take what I can get. I don't have that big of a library to begin with, so that's very awesome. As well as we got the God of War Ascension. So that's awesome, Jeremy. I really appreciate the trade. I hope the games got to you perfectly fine, and you were able to flip those consoles and make some good money. With that said, to everybody out there in this wonderful world, take care. Enjoy the rest of your day.